In our lesson today, we are going to take a look at the checklist for peer editing in wave 1. We are going to do a few waves of peer editing. The first wave is only going to look at 2 essential items, and the first one is the format, and the second one is transitions. In the past, you have probably done peer editing all in one shot, and there's a lot of errors and things to look for, and it can be overwhelming. I think that we need to focus solely on a few things at once so we really can hone in on essential problems that may exist in different types of essays, and we can help each other with purpose and also be really effective. The first 2 things I'm going to look for today is my format. And I'm going to be taking a look at if each body paragraph particularly. So the first thing I'm going to look at in my necessary format is here, and then my transitions. I want to look at in my body paragraph. So the necessary format for body paragraphs. I want to make sure that each body paragraph starts off with a topic sentence. So the topic sentence is essentially the reason you listed in the boxes, right, and bullets. So that's the reasons that you had. Then what you're going to do is make sure that in the body paragraph, there's a piece of evidence that comes from the support or source research that someone conducted on their topic. So for instance, if I did assessments in education, there's something that I can pull from my sources that will help me explain by providing more evidence. And I'm going to then, in my next step, look for an analysis of that evidence, which is essentially an explanation on how that evidence connects to this topic sentence. So there should be some seamlessness or continuity. What that means is it should flow, right? If I'm saying that assessments in education cause stress, my first piece of evidence should be strongly connected to my topic sentence that assessments cause stress. So I want to make sure that I'm selecting the strongest piece of evidence that jives with my topic. The next thing I want to do is then make sure my explanation, right, it's valid, it's relevant, and it connects to my topic. This also might be a good spot to put in a transition. So right here, right, I might want to put in a transition after I'm done with my analysis of the evidence before I get into my second piece of evidence. And the reason being is because I am continuing to add to my ideas. So I'm going to look at the front board where the cabinets are, and there's a poster in the front that says add transitions here. That is a collective list of all the transitions that we came up with as a class in the last few days of our class activity by identifying transitions. If you can't find one or you're not sure, that is a fabulous list to use as a reference. All of you guys work together to come up with those transitions, and they include transitions not only begin a paragraph, but keep it going, add more detail, develop your ideas, and also conclude. So this might be a good spot to put in a transition between the second piece of evidence. The next thing you're going to do is take a look to make sure that that person includes that second piece of strong evidence that connects to their topic. What you're then going to look for is if that person explains the evidence, and then might want to look for, right, another spot for transition, right? So you might want to tell the person this is going to be a good spot for transition. And the very last thing in the format is you want to make sure that that person restates the topic sentence, but they're doing so using different words. It should not be identical than the topic sentence in the beginning. It's okay if they did that for now in the rough draft, but now as we're starting to revise and peer edit, we want to make sure that the restatement of the topic sentence as the concluding portion of the body paragraph is slightly different than the first topic sentence. We want to do that because we don't want to have repetition. We want to avoid sounding like a broken record. The second thing we're looking for is transitions. What you're going to ask yourself as the reader is that, does the essay have at least 2 transitions in each paragraph? So you want to make sure that you're looking at this and you're asking yourself, does this have transitions? Is there flow to this body paragraph? Or does it seem like it's just like plastered right here and that's it? We want to ensure that the essay not only has the format that we need, but we want to make sure that it flows. And we do that with transitions. So you're going to take a look at that transition poster in the front of the class. So when we're going to peer edit, I'm going to show you an example of the things that I'm looking for. I decided, according to my live write and in the past mini lessons we've done, to use a color coding schema. So if this is my body paragraph, for instance, you can see that I chose the black to represent my topic sentence and my key idea or reason that I'm presenting. I chose the blue as a piece of text evidence, and the purple represents my explanation. So I can easily see my format, and I know that I've actually included all of the pieces that my body paragraph needs. When you are peer editing, if the person does not color code, feel free to do so. So you can actually see, okay, this is where their topic sentence is. You might want to color code it as you go. So you can visually identify whether or not they have aspects of the necessary format, including topic sentence, evidence, and then analysis, and as well as the concluding statement. What you should do is not review someone's work and erase it as you go. What you should do is come up here to where you see this little pencil and hit suggesting. You'll see a green box becomes illuminated. What that does is it allows you to edit someone's work without erasing anything they do. The whole goal here is to help maybe add comments and good, meaningful feedback. We're looking for quality of feedback, not a whole bunch of feedback. The whole goal is to be to the point. You're not going to say, this really isn't that good. You didn't do this right. You want to give feedback that is addressing our two key points. And our two key points are simply the format and transitions. That's it. If a person has, I language and they have grammar errors, we're going to get to that. But the first things we're looking for is the format. So please refrain from really telling someone that their work isn't that great. We're only looking for these two things. So keep that in mind. So I can see that I have my format here. So I can say, check, that's good. But now I want to look at my second thing. And I said that was transitions. Does the essay have at least 2 in each paragraph? And I'm saying at least 2, but you can, of course, have more. So here's my topic sentence. Standardized assessments cause students unnecessary stress. Ed Week. Assessments may change in many ways, but for most students, the stress of having to prove what they know and can do doesn't go away. Well, there is no transition here. It's just kind of like put in here. So I might want to say, add a transition here. And that way the person can see my comment come up in green. Because if they click it, they can see, oh, here's the comment that goes to that. And they can keep track of whether or not they do it in a checklist type format when they check it off to know, oh, I know I need to add a transition. So here I might want to do that. When assessments change, students may not know what's expected of them. When things change a lot, a student can get confused. When? So I see when, right? I might want to highlight the word when. And I might want to add a comment here by highlighting it. And I might say, you should vary the way you provide information by perhaps saying a transitional phrase like, for example. Right? So now I might want to tell the person, you're doing a good job, but you should vary the way that you're presenting your information by saying, like, for example. Here I see another second piece of evidence, but there is no transition. So I might want to tell the person, right? Add a transition here. And so you're going to do the same thing, and you get to see that the comments are coming up in green by hitting suggesting. So we're focusing on just these two things, format and transitions today in our first wave of peer editing.